I won't be backing him again.
It just didn't appeal to me, and I just think he'd get mullered by Constitution Hill and Honeysuckle.
I've actually took a nibble at 25s for the Brown advisory.
Hello and welcome back to the Only Fools Love Horses YouTube channel. And we're back with our review videos. It was a Cheltenham review last weekend. Thank you very much for the support on that. And we had our Betfair Chase preview video last Tuesday. That got to 1,800 views on YouTube. Lots of likes, lots of comments, good feedback. So thank you very much for the support on that video. Our best video by far. We're back with a review of the weekend. Ascot, Haydock and Punchestown, two Grade 1s to cover in our review, and the drama surrounding Constitution Hill. The usual boys are joining me today. Harry, Lee. I'll go Harry first. It was a good weekend's action in areas, but the field sizes were a bit poor and it was a bit demoralising at times, but it was still good to see some nice horses out on the weekend.
Oh, it was, and barring the controversial stories that surround National Hunt Racing at the minute, it was good to see the likes of Protectorat, the story of Dan and Harry Skelton having this horse. That was lovely to see that horse winning the Betfair Chase so impressively yesterday. We go to today, we obviously got State Man, really impressive at Punchestown winning the Morgiana. There's a lot more to come from that horse, you can guarantee, regardless of what you think of the performance. So listen, you can pick holes in the weekend's action, but there was definitely some superstars on show, and I was quite pleased with it.
There were some superstars on the show, and what's also on show in this video is the Only Fools Love Horses merch. As you can see, there's the two people here doffing the merch.
I was at work and I've been repping the merch at Tesco. So
yeah, Harry Tesco obviously didn't get the memo. Lee, it's quite poor from Harry there to not be repping the merch, but we did see some nice horses out this weekend when they got out onto the track, and it'll be good to review all the action.
Yeah, first of all, it's great that this is from Racing Tees, by the way, so you can get any of the horse racing colours and silks that you want from them at Racing Tees 1 on Twitter. Go to their site. So it's great that they were able to send us the Only Fools Love Horses hats and t-shirts and stuff. But yeah, look, it was disappointing, the field sizes. I seen it at Ascot. I think it was 2, walkover, 4 and 5 for the field sizes on Saturday. Not great, but look, like Harry says, Protectorat, good winner, and we'll get stuck into them.
Yeah, we'll get stuck into them in due time, but we'll start with the first horse, the real superstar that came out of the week, and it was John Bon. He won a nice novice chase at Warwick on Wednesday. Harry, it's a horse you're a big fan of. You've backed it for the Arkle already. How are you feeling with your docket after seeing that run around Warwick?
Well, you can't not be impressed, by the way, because, I mean, Edward Stone won the race last year at Warwick. He went on to win the Arkle. It's a perfect test for jumpers regardless. Bearing in mind, that was his first time over a fence. I know, obviously, it was Monreal's first time over a fence, but they were head and tongue for 3/4 of the way, and John Bon's engine turning around the bend was scarily impressive, I thought, and the way he quickened up without Aidan Coleman even really getting serious was definitely one to be impressed with. Nicky Henderson said the horse will get 2.5 miles standing on his head. So you need a strong stay. You need a strong stayer over 2 miles to win an Arkle. I think Edward Stone stays a strong 2 miles, and Warwick seems a good testing for the jumping. So for me, I couldn't have been more impressed. 5-1's long gone now. I think the best price you're going to get is near about 2s, isn't it, Ash? So listen, it's a waiting game now. I said he'd go unbeaten until March. I remain with that. Is it the plan for the Henry VIII now?
Yeah, Henry VIII is the plan for John Bon. So that'd be nice.
So, I mean, that's another jumping test. I mean, horses sometimes don't take to those fences down the back straight at Sandown. So, listen, hopefully he puts in another good performance, and he's just boosted his Arkle credentials, because I am still worrying how much depth is in that Arkle division this year, and I just think John Bon he ticks all the boxes for me at the minute.
Yeah, I can only echo your point. So we've got a tight schedule, so I won't go over what you said there, but he was very impressive. The one thing I'll pick out from what Harry said there is the reason why this horse will stay over 2 miles, even though Nicky said he can get 2.5 standing on his head, is his speed through the air over his fences. Like, he is a proper 2 miler over jumps. Monreal, on the other hand, will get further because he's just a bit slower over his fences. The key for horses staying these different trips is how quickly they go over their jumps. And John Bond's a perfect example. He could get 2.5, but 2 miles is fine for him because he just is so electric over his fences. Very similar to Banbridge, what we saw on the weekend, just how quick he is over those fences. Lee, 2-1 for John Bond. I've just mentioned another Arkle horse there, 12-1 for Banbridge currently for the Arkle, and that's 2-1 for John Bond. Look at those prices there. How excited were you by John Bond the weekend? And do you think those prices are correct in respect to what we've seen from both of them?
I think Banbridge maybe should be a little bit shorter, and I think John Bond's probably a fair price at 2s. Look, we've seen that he can jump a fence now, and the way he quickened up. Look, he's done everything right first time out. He was gun barrel straight. At the last, he was good all the way around bar. I think 1 on the far side, but look, impressive performance. Monmoral, I think, probably will step up and trip. And West Cork, maybe it's a strong run.
He's still done well there. He's still done well there, West Cork. It's a tough race.
Look, he's come up against strong horses. He was against Stage Star first time out, but he keeps jumping right. Maybe he's going the other way around, going right-handed and on a strong run race in a handicap chase. Maybe that's his game. But yeah, I think Monmoral step up and good performance by John Bond.
We go from one Paul Nicholls horse who was in second that day, who could be stepping up in trip, to another who won on the weekend, who again could be stepping up in trip further. Hitman won a graduation chase around Haydock, Lee. Very nice performance. Jumped really well, didn't really get off the bridle. Again, another horse like John Bond that you can't really knock him too much.
Yeah, I thought it was a great performance, to be honest. I think Brave Man's Game kind of done a similar performance last season and jumped well, went out in front, didn't really miss a beat. They couldn't get one well at the line. Obviously, they're saying King George tilt now. Whether he's up to
7-1, 7-1 for King George.
Sevens. I don't know if I'd be taking sevens. I don't know if I'd be diving in, but it does give a nice little boost to Gallo, who obviously won the Paddy Power. I'm very keen on him, and he's been running in some strong races. Gave a lot away the last day at Aintree, and then won well the other day. So yeah, good performance.
Harry, there's the horse I want to talk about later on today for the King George. So I'll leave there at a bigger price. We've got 7-1 for the King George now for Hitman. He was very good, and something I want to highlight is actually Harry Cobson on board. He was, as I put in my tweet on Twitter, he was just impeccable, and he always is impeccable over his fences and hurdles, as we saw of Hermes Allen. It was nice from Hitman, but it's hard to judge what he's beaten there because all of his rivals were £10 inferior off levels. But you had to be impressed by the run, and he can only progress on there to potentially the King George.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the way that Harry Cobden rode the race, he had a target on his back turning into the straight, and we know Haydock is such a long straight. Anything can happen. He proved it in the first race. He was off the bit, turning round the bend, and he still gathered his horse up and ran on well to the line. This horse, he stayed up. He waited. Manila Drama came to him. Manila Drama, he was an impressive winner at Haydock, I think, in December or January last year. He won by a good 9 lengths, I think, that day. So, listen, I think this was a really seriously impressive performance. Sir Alex Ferguson couldn't have been more bullish about the horse on ITV beforehand. So it was.
He was 2-1 on there or something stupid like that.
It was, but he won as a 2-1 shot on Wood. Do you know what I mean? He should have won as a 1-2 shot Wood. And I thought it was really impressive the way he jumped, the way he was quick through the air. That was the most impressive thing. And he got rid of his second
not going to get off Brave Man's Game, is he?
He won't. I think he is still inferior to Brave Man's Game. I think Brave Man's Game has that bit of class about him. I'm not saying Hitman isn't a classy horse because he does bring a lot of talent to the table. But I think if you line them two up in a straight race, I think Brave Man's Game will be winning 9 times out of 10.
What did Meg Nichols say on the Nick Sunday there?
It was quite funny to watch, to be fair, because Nick looked kind of goaded her into saying which one Paul Nicholls thought was the best, and he basically turned around and said, "I'll have a bet with you, Hitman or Brave Man's Game," and Meg Nichols basically said, "Well, Brave Man's Game will be Hitman." So I think that puts that boat away. So Brave Man's Game, I still think, is the one to beat in there.
7-1 King George, Harry, interesting.
I think that's short, to be fair, Ash. I think I think you can get probably bigger. I can't see him getting shorter than 7-1.
I'll go on to the horse I was mentioning there. I need to create a little banner for it, but it was Tornado Flyer I want to talk about because the horse that won there was Blue Lord over in Ireland. That was the Clonmel Oil Chase. I thought Blue Lord was obviously very good, coming around the outside, did it well. Potentially a new Ryanair horse there for Willie Mullins if Allaho doesn't go. But I thought Tornado Flyer, for a horse who's not potentially the best first time out, usually comes on for his runs. He was very good over a distance that he doesn't really be wanting now, 2.5 miles. It's a 3-mile trip for the King George. I'd be really interested by him currently. He's 9-1 when he got something like 7-1 for Hitman. So I thought Tornado Fly was good. But Blue Lord, you two haven't done the notes for him. I've got a few notes on him here, but he's quickened up well. He took a few fences to get into it, but he's done it well there. Obviously, we've seen what he's done in novice company last season, so it's a good step up into open company. We see a lot of horses get caught out for that, and he's jumped well when the pace has got quicker there. That just shows off his 2-mileness from the Arkle days.
Sorry, Ash, I was going to say I think this is a huge step up for him. On last season, he couldn't quite get there in the Arkle, and there was a few iffy rounds in between, but I think it's a huge step up for him. I was quite surprised with the result, to be honest. And Tornado Flyer, I definitely agree, will step up from his first run of the season, and King George bound probably again.
Yeah, no, last season, Tornado Flyer was 8th to Allaho and the John Durkan, and he stepped up to win the King George there. So you can see a similar sort of route going on there, 2.5 onto 3 miles. And Blue Lord, it's definitely a step up. And the one thing for me that was key was that you could see the bags of speed he's got. Obviously, he was a 2-mile novice chaser last season, but when the pace quickened up, his jumping got better. It was like a linear equation there, but that is, again, just talking the speed through the air. He was really good when the pace quickened up. The last 2 fences, he pinged them, and he was very good there. 20-1 for the Ryanair currently, if that interests anyone listening, but it wouldn't currently at the time for me. Now we know that we don't know what Allaho's doing, but I thought he was very good, as was Tornado Flyer. The big race on the weekend was the Betfair Chase, and we had Protectorat winning, Harry. Aplutard pulled up. It was a race. It was a race, certainly, and an interesting one at that. What do you make of the winner and Aplutard?
I think if you start with Aplutard, I don't think Rachel Blackmore ever seemed as well as what she was going in last year's renewal. I thought that she was just always kind of ticking at him, and especially down the back, because Protectorat was giving no one any length. He was jumping up onto Bristol Demise, up onto Bristol Demise back I think every single jump on the back straight, and Bristol Demise, one hell of a jumper, especially he showed that down the first few fences down the home straight. So I think Protectorat, if we go back to that horse, Dan and Harry Skelton have done an absolute wonder with this horse. I was so pleased for those two, because I think if anyone deserves it, I think Harry Skelton does deserve it, because people wrote him off as champion jockey, saying that he was probably people, they see Brian Hughes winning the champion jockey now, and they don't remember.
They've kind of forgot that he won it so recently.
Yeah, they kind of forget Harry Skelton won it, and he completely deserved it, because he was turning up on the big days, and he was riding big winners, and he's just rode probably his biggest success, I thought, that for a long, long time. And what a willing partner as well, because Protectorat jumped like a buck, quickened as well. It was quite frightening, to be fair. He firmly puts himself into the Gold Cup, I think. He puts himself into the picture. But if you're going back, and if you forgive a horse a run, you can get 12-1 on last year's winner. And I think that is massive.
Would you not be worried, though? The worry for me is that Rachel Blackmore, Henry de Bromhead, they've come into this saying that there's no issues. They even said after the race he's been working extremely well. There was no tell signs that he was going to do something so dramatic as what he did on Saturday. The betting suggested that he was smashed into 2-1 on from lurking around the 6-4 on there in the morning. Like, everything was set up for that day, and he's just underperformed. Would that not worry you going forward?
Well, he won the Gold Cup by 15 lengths. It's one of those. I think it's his first time he's failed to finish a race. That is a little bit of a worry. But then, if he goes to Leopardstown for the Savills?
It'll be the Savills now, yeah.
If he goes to the Savills and wins that, he is not going to be 12-1. He'll be back to where he should be, close to the market, probably shorter than Protectorat, given that Protectorat's already beaten him comfortably as well. I think A Plus Tard is still the one for me in this Gold Cup. I just seen the fact that when he came up the hill last year, when he jumped past Manila Indo, it was frightening. So we know the horse has got ability. We know Protectorat's got ability. But if they're both firing on all cylinders come March, there's only going to be one winner for me, and that's A Plus Tard.
Lee, a word on the winner before we go on to a horse that you're a big fan of, A Plus Tard. He's performed to an RPR there of 177. As Harry said, his jumping down the back straight was incredible. I didn't notice it in the race, but that video Racing TV put up on Twitter, those two fences down the back straight, that was incredible. And the way he's pinged the last and just stretched on. I know you can sort of poke holes in the horses behind, but Eldorado Allen, he's performed another great race. He always runs to RPRs of 160 or above. This was a good performance from Protector. Let's not take anything away from the winner.
Yeah, definitely. Look, like you say, is Eldorado Allen. Did he run his race? Yes, he's run a great race. He's ran a strong race, but there was just a much more impressive winner on the day, and it was a great performance. Like Harry said, I was pleased for the Skeletons as well. They say is that this race was something that they targeted because obviously Dan worked with Paul Nicholls. He won it multiple times, and it's just like one of them prestigious races that you aim to win as going with training.
He said it was like if National Hunt Training had a classic, this would be kind of one of the classics that you'd be winning. Yeah. He's so right.
Look, like I say, I think Eldorado Allen ran a good race. We were quite strong on him running a good race, and he has performed. The other two in behind, Frodon and Bristol, they are getting a bit long in the tooth to maybe competing in these Grade 1 races. And A Plus Tard, look, it just didn't perform. It jumped sloppy at times, raced out wide. Maybe he's trying to get the better ground, but just never in a rhythm. And obviously, Rachel pulled the horse up. I think it was before 3 out. Right decision. Look, you don't want to break a season just for trying to get into third or fourth. Do you know what I mean? What's the point? But I'd definitely be with Harry. I'd definitely take a bit of 12s. I can forgive a horse one run. Would I back him next time out? No. Would I forgive the run? Definitely.
That's what I'm saying, Ash. If you sit on 12s now, if he comes out and runs anywhere close to what he did when he was second to Galvin in the Savills last year, there's no way this horse is going to be 12s, because if he comes second or third, but a close second or third, he's going to be half that price going into March, where he's going to get better ground, you can guarantee, barring anything that we had on that Wednesday, but then it was still good ground on the Friday. And he's a different horse.
If he comes out, if over the next couple of days, if you're saying 12-1 now is a good price, over the next couple of days he comes out and they say they've got an issue or they're not going for the rest of the season, or he goes to the Savills and he gets beaten there again, you'd have to be worried then that you're taking 12-1 about a horse who's just pulled up in a Betfair Chase.
But this is the whole point of anti-post punting, because you're taking a price on a horse that you're taking a risk on, because if this horse isn't well enough to run or run to his best, then that's the aim of the game, Ash. At the end of the day, you're here to find the value, and the value is at 12-1, because if he's back at his best, he's not a 12-1 shot. He won the Gold Cup by 15 lengths.
I'd say you can then wait a couple of weeks at least to then find out if something comes up. But the vet did report afterwards that there was nothing wrong. I just think the sloppy jumping and not in the rhythm, that was the reason that it was pulled up. But I wouldn't hold it against the horse, like Harry says. And to be honest, I did check. So I think Henry de Bromhead is running at 18% strike rate. Willie Mullins, I think, is on about 30%. And obviously Nicky and Paul have been on about 40%. So maybe just a few of Henry's horses are not quite there. 18% is a great strike rate, but that's in the past fortnight. A couple of underperformed. I seen we'll go on to one like Chantreuse and stuff like that. So look, just forgive it a horse.
My only worry would be, Ash, and I don't know whether you picked this up, it was how quick he pulled up. Rachel was quite quick on pulling him up, and usually a horse is, I don't know, throwing its head around, but he was just fed up.
He was just never right. He was jumping out to his right. He always seemed like Rachel was kind of just asking for a little bit, going away around down the back straight. She started to get a little bit low in the saddle. I was sat next to my dad watching the race. He's a massive Rachel Blackmore A Plus Tard fan, and I was just sat looking at him. I was like, You're a bit worried here, Dad. He's not exactly going well here, but yeah, no, happy to. It's also another backed, so I can't really have an opinion on backing him again because I won't be backing him again. And the 12-1 doesn't really attract me. The Protector at 10-1 for the Gold Cup doesn't attract me. I wouldn't be backing at that price. All I can say is that I thought that was a really, really good performance. Like, you just look at a performance, you think like that's really good.
So do you think he's a different horse to last year then?
Yeah.
Protector at 100%.
Do you think he's improved? Because
100%.
Okay, here's another question then. If Aplutard goes back in the same sort of form that he found himself going into Cheltenham last year, or returns to the same performance,
how long's a piece of string, Harry? Like,
that's what I'm putting to you. That's what I'm putting to you. Do you think
it would have been
turn the tables on Aplutard's Gold Cup performance last year?
It would have been great to see. It would have been great to see them do it at that level already in the Betfair. But there's so many factors. Like last year, there was no pace at all. Protectorate's had Bristol there to set a nice pace, and he just picked him off around the bend. Like, he's a different animal, but I could not be making a judgment.
If me auntie had balls, she'll be me uncle. Can't see anything else.
We'll move on to Sunday, the big race there at Punchestown, the Morgiana. Stateman won the race, Lee, for Willie Mullins, 1-2. Might even be 3 now, I think, there. But it was Stateman who won. Champion Hurdle next. What do you make of the performance?
I had obviously questions coming into the race. Vauban was meant to go, so Gerhard. They chose to go with Stateman. I can see why they would have went chasing with Stateman. They chose to go this route. I think maybe that'll have implications on Sir Gerhard, so maybe he'll go chasing now, but just wasn't quite slick at his hurdles. In the past, Bouvier, Binoculars, they've all been slick over their hurdles. Didn't quite cut it today for me. Will come on for the run. 5-10-6, so he's not the same as Vauban where he's 14-5. I don't kind of like them horses that are 14-5 trying to step up to the top table, but look, solid performance. Beat Sharjah, who come home well from the last typical kind of raid, and I can see him running into places or even winning one of these at the Christmas or Dublin Racing Festival, but look, solid enough.
Harry, 6-1 Champion Hurdle, 4s in places with Coral Ladbrokes.
Short.
That is short. That is really short. Just what do you make of it and his Champion Hurdle credentials?
It's not short. It's short, mate. It is literally horrendous. Because how can you have? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love love Stateman because he's barring his mishap last year where he fell, he'd be here unbeaten, and we'd be saying we might have different things, but I don't think we would because, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's beat Sharjah. Sharjah's getting on a bit. He was carrying his head like he didn't really.
He'd be turning 11, I think, won't he?
Yeah, well, yeah, he's 9 turning 10 now, isn't he? So, I mean, Saudio was beat. He set a nice clip. It just didn't appeal to me, and I just think he'd get mullered by Constitution Hill and Honeysuckle because I think they're a different ball game. We said they've got to step up. Yes, Paul Tanner mentioned he keeps winning and he keeps winning well, but I think Vauban would give him a good race, and I just think Constitution Hill and Honeysuckle would demolish the pair of them. So for me, I just wasn't that impressed, even though he's won going away. There was just something about it I didn't really like. He needs a really good pace to jump well. He proved that down the back straight where he wasn't a little bit long, where he was a little bit long at the start. Pace quickened up and he jumped better. But you can't be jumping big in a champion hurdle when you've got Constitution Hill who's broke the track record in the Supreme. You've got Honeysuckle who's unbeaten. They're not going to let up, and you can't make those mistakes. So for me, it's just, I won't repeat the word, but it's short.
Harry, he's short, like you said there, 420. You can see the pre-written tweets there where as soon as he crossed the line, it was Stateman is fantastic in the Morgiana. I kind of agree with you. I wasn't blown away. Like, it was a solid 6.5, 7 performance. Like, it was good. The engine he showed around the bend to quicken up and go was nice. I can see where Lee's coming from there. He's given his flights lots of air, and I still maintain that 2.5 would be his best trip. Like, at the finish there, Sharjah staying on. He's not exactly put on the afterburners, got into 7th gear and taken them away. Like, he's done it well, but you'd be interested if he went chasing over 2.5 potentially, because I couldn't be having this horse for the champion hurdle, unfortunately. But he will progress, and I may have to eat my words, but off that run, 4-1 in places, that is short to me. Lads, we have to cover it, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. We are on a tight schedule, but we do want to talk about this: the Constitution Hill drama. Lee, I'll go to you first. He was a runner. People are paying for their tickets. They're making the trips to Ascot. He doesn't go in the end. The ground was quick. He wasn't the only non-runner. There was 15 that day, so it's not exactly like it's a Nicky Henderson issue. What do you make of the fallout that's happened on Twitter? And just give your sort of sum up on the drama.
I was just thinking about this before, Ashen. Like we mentioned about, when they take the hurdles out for low suns and stuff like that, they kind of know the decision already. Like, just make the call earlier. If you're going to do it, fair dues. Look, we all want horses to come home safe. We want safe ground. We want, good racing ground. But at the same time, people have paid their money as well. So us on the other side of the fence and the punters and who go racing kind of lose out. Like we said, there was 2 runners, a walkover, another 2, 4 and 5. That's not good for racing. And Nicky did say on the Friday he had already thought that the ground wasn't right. So then kind of have a bit balls and make that decision early, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I get you. I think, Harry, the dangerous thing here is the welfare of the horse is key. And if Nicky Henderson decides that he doesn't want his horse to go here, that's fine. Michael Buckley pays the bills. He trains the horse. Like, it's their decision. It should be no one else's, and that's fine. It may be frustrating, trust me, it is frustrating. But it's their decision, and I'm not sort of one to be passing comment on that because I'm more than sure I'll say something wrong. But the thing that's the dangerous thing for me is the comments Nicky made on was it Luck on Sunday now? No, the racing debates with Matt Chapman on Sunday. The comments of saying that if this horse had ran, he'd be in his box on the sideline for a year. He'd be out basically effective for the season. That's not the first time Nicky's done that. He said that about Shishkin as well. If he ran Shishkin that day, they would have ruined him for the season. They would have ruined him for his career. I think that was the Lydia Hislop maybe interview there. Harry, it's dangerous comments like that, and Henderson has a record for it, which doesn't paint the sport in a good light.
It is, and you're right. And Paul Nicholls made a very, very good comment because he mentioned the surname and Altior clash, and he said his surname was fine from that. Now, they both had problems, but surname had a wind problem. Everyone thought that it was from the Ascot run. It bottomed the horses out. It wasn't. It was from the wind. Listen, we're there to see. Horse races are there to be competitive. We want to see the best versus the best. We want to see the most competitive action. Listen, if the ground's not safe, by all means, withdraw your horses. As Lee mentioned, they'd have probably made their mind up on Thursday, Friday. I said on the Tuesday podcast last week, I said, I don't think either Edwardstone or Constitution Hill will run. We've had a little bit of rain. It's going to dry out. And if you fancy taking a punt against them, I'd advise you to do so because I don't think they'd be running. We had a walkover at Ascot yesterday on a Saturday card, which is embarrassing. Listen, I might be going a little bit off, but listen, if Constitution Hill and Edwardstone have been trained up and they've been riled up for a race, Edwardstone has obviously been withdrawn last week. He's been withdrawn this week. Now, how do you then kind of take a little bit of work off that horse to then retrain him back up? That could, you've seen it before. Horses be withdrawn, they don't come back the same animal. That could be the case. This could be the case.
That could be hindering the horse as well as
precisely. You're training this horse up. You're doing lots of work with this horse. You're probably working him a few times a week for a couple of weeks. You're building his work up progressively. Oh wait, we ain't going to race you. We'll tuck you away till Christmas because there might be a race in Ireland you can go to. What happens if that goes bottomless and he doesn't want to run?
Yeah.
Can I just say what Paul Nicholls actually said was that. When they went in the first race, the ground come back safe, and they say is, look, you just have to sometimes just run your horses. Do you know what I mean? I think, look, Nicky has done it. I'm not questioning Nicky Henderson, but he has done it a lot in the past, and then it becomes like. Not the man who cried wolf, but you know what I mean.
My only worry now is, and I put a tweet out that it went around. I said how disappointed I was, and people were coming back to me with some great suggestions, and they were saying this is all about Cheltenham. This is the be all and end all. This is if Nicky. I mean, this might sound controversial. This is the thoughts of quite a few people. They thought that if Constitution Hill was entered for the champion hurdle and the ground was the same, that horse would be running.
He did come out he did deny that. To be fair, the question was
I know,
and
that's obvious. He's obviously going to deny that. But I mean, we're not here to underestimate Nicky Henderson as a trainer, because I, for one, think he's a brilliant trainer. He gets the best out of his horses. But then you can see the argument people are saying, and you can see the reason why.
Just quickly on that. So, I mean, he kind of was forced his hand, he said, into running Shishkin in the champion chase, and the horse ended up being pulled up. They knew what was going to happen, but because it was already there on the day, everything had built up. They kind of said that the hand was kind of forced.
But then Braveman's Game was withdrew from the.
Nichols took a lot of his horse out there. Time White as well on the Wednesday.
That's right. When it absolutely bottomed out, Paul Nichols that was before the champion chase as well. So Paul Nichols was already before. Nicky Henderson could have withdrew Shishkin before that. He could have withdrew Shishkin before it.
Look, we could go on for a while. We are on a tight schedule. Harry, authorised speed, ran at Lingfield, did well. You put the tweet up there. Well done. Nice horse.
Yeah, very, very impressive, Ash. I'm not going to lie to you. I was really taken by the way this horse tanked through his race. He was pulling like a cart the whole way around on the ground that was softening by the second. And at Lingfield, when it rains, it really does rain. We've seen how quickly that can go bottomless. And the way he quickened up, I mean, Jamie Moore coming down to the last, I was frightened because this horse.
I thought it was going to be a Goshen.
He was trapping, and I mean, he was. If anyone hasn't watched the race, just go and watch it back. Authorised speed. He was absolutely trapping down to this the last flight after Jamie Moore asked him for a bit of effort, and it was easy. It was easy, and to quicken off that, he tanked through the race, and to quicken off that ground is impressive. Listen, what's he beat? He might have beat Trees. But there was some good form lines in behind. There was some good form lines. I think one of Paul Nichols' horses, one of the ones in behind, had good form lines with that horse. So I think it's very impressive. You can't not be taken by it, can you, really? But he looks like a horse that wants further.
That's good. And Lee, Jerry Colon won earlier in the week as well. 2 mile 5 beginners chase. Nice performance. Where could you see this horse going this season?
Now the 3 mailer at Cheltenham. Look, the horse had a point-to-point win, 2 National Hunt flat wins, then went and done 2 hurdle runs and then went chasing. So it was a good performance first time out. Beat Braun of Willie Mullins by nearly 3 lengths. That horse is a grade 2 horse. Chantreuse was in behind of Henry de Bromhead's. That horse is a grade 2 horse. And even miles back was Sam's Profile, who was a Galmai hurdle winner. So look,
nice form.
Yeah, it's good form first time out. 2 mile 5. I think they'll step up and trip, and look, jumped well enough and won well at the line. So yeah, good performance.
Yeah, no, I thought, really, really good performance there. And I have a horse to mention as well. I just popped it up on the screen there. Bout of Greatness won today. So that'll be Sunday for everyone watching there. Ben Pauling's horse won at Leicester over hurdles, and I saw it. And he won really nicely there. He went to Aintree with stuff behind Gelino Bello in the Grade 1. They do think a lot of this horse, like to be going straight from a novice hurdle into Grade 1 company, they think a lot. And he's taken to his fences really well. He finished second today. It was a short head to Black Jerry, but he jumped really well for a first time over fences. It was over 2 mile free today. He'll want further in time. He stayed on the line. And the reason why Black Jerry's won here is because he's just done it for toe between the second last and the last, and he's stuck on well there. So you'd be looking like a Paddy Power plate maybe. I even have one eye on one of the really long handicaps at the Cheltenham Festival. The Ultima, the Kim Muir potentially. I think he wants that step up in trip and Bout's Greatness in the Harry Redknapp colours. Be very nice. Lads, do we have any other horses we want to talk about that are off the radar? Go on, Lee.
Yeah, look, I've got a couple of performances from last week. First one is Fern's Lock of David Christie's. Won a Hunter Chase by 12 length. I think that can go on to better things. Jumped really well, beat an Emmett Mullins horse. Got backed in from 7-2 to, I think it was 9-4 on the off. The money come late and ran really well. So that's Fern's Lock and Zarek the Brave. I don't know if you lads seen in the double green colours. I think it might be favourite for the triumph or something now. Won by 10 length.
That was really good. That was a really good performance.
Ran really well. Maybe short. You would want to see these horses coming out. There's plenty of horses to come out for that division, but could only do what it could done. And Kilcroot, obviously, Journey With Me was taken out. Ran the chase over 2 mile, 3.5. Won by nearly 10 length. Jumped well enough on the whole. Hopefully that horse can progress this season. Was a bit in the wilderness last season, but look, hopefully it can kick on. So Kilcroot as well, done enough.
First time over fences. Hopefully the horse can live up to his sort of bumper potential days.
That's all.
Harry, anything from you?
Yeah, I've got two. One was actually at Hexham. It was in the Weatherby's National Hunt Stallions Novice Chase. It was on the 16th of November, which is 4 days ago. I can't actually figure out when that was, but it was Crystal Glory, won by 20 lengths. And if you just got to watch this horse's run back, first time over fences, jumped like an absolute buck, and he just looked like he was a proper horse. 3 miles on soft ground, looked like an absolute shoe-in. And listen, Sean Quinlan could have won as he liked. He could have won by 40, 60, 80 lengths if he wanted to. It was that easy for the horse. And Hexham's a tricky little track. Obviously, you've got the title pill straight coming down the back. And I thought it was so impressive the way. I love novices jumping well. And that horse really did jump well for me. And then the other one I just wanted to mention, Ash, was in the first at Ascot yesterday. Another race that cut up. There was only 3 runners that went to post. We had Gunnery Officer in there that pulled up. But it was the Paul Nicholls outsider of 3 that really took my eye. Ivaldi, 4-year-old. And now listen, was only given £1 by Scarface, who was a solid horse, a solid 130 horse, I'd say. Ivaldi's much the less experienced, only had 2 runs, 3 runs over hurdles, 2 runs over here. And I just think there's a lot of improvement. Travelled like the winner, joined the winner at the last and just couldn't get by him. But I think jumping his hurdles a little bit better, I think he could be a monster next time out and definitely want to take out that race.
That'll do for this weekend's review. If you did enjoy, please like and subscribe and follow us on Twitter at HarryBeard7, at RacingLee1, at ASimmonsJourno, and at Only Fools Love Horses Racing on Twitter. If you did enjoy, please like and subscribe. We've got all our content over there. Saturday lives at 10:30 a.m. On Saturday. And we'll have our Tuesday video looking towards the weekend ahead. So it should be a really good weekend's action. Fingers crossed we can pick up some winners in some nice form. And I'm really enjoying it. So thank you, lads. Good video. And we'll catch you next time.
Cheers, boys.
Yes.